Yes, I can hear.
Perfect, and we have the recording option also. Andrea Parsons, McGoffin County, can you hear us?
Yes.
All right, fantastic. Well, we're so happy that you all could join. We're ready to go ahead and get started. This will be recorded and posted to the Holler. We appreciate Johnson Central High School for hosting us this afternoon. Dr. Snow and Justin Prater from UPIC are here. Mr. Jared Gibson has so graciously allowed us to come into his classroom. And then we have Johnson Central High School students here that will introduce themselves shortly. So with no further ado, we'll let Dr. Snow begin.
Thanks for coming today. We've got a lot of ground to cover in the next 45 minutes. What I'd like to start by doing is just asking, go around the room here before we get into any of the material and ask, what are your ideas? What are you thinking of doing? So who here is on the same team? So you three, what's your idea?
We want to meet Allie. Speak really loud. Say your first and last name.
Yeah, real loud. So they'll hear you on this.
And then tell them your idea, okay? All three of you need to speak real loud.
Real loud.
My name is Megan Smith. I'm a junior.
My name is Allie Crump, and I'm a junior.
I'm a senior child, and I'm a junior.
Our idea is to create a Bluetooth chip or block that can attach to a thermostat, and it can connect to your phone, so you can like raise the temperature, or you can like accessory for your for your thermostat.
Okay. Well, that's good. Who's next? Trey?
My name's Trey Cottle. I'm a junior. My idea is hydraulic weight bench. It's going to have it's weight bench,
Trey.
and it has a pedal on your right foot. If you have heavy weights, you have two like safety bars. But the bench is up higher than the safety bars. And you got heavy, you can push the pedal, and it'll raise it down, and the safety bars will catch it, so you can slide it up.
Okay. Good.
My name is Charles O'Toole. I'm a senior.
Real loud.
Real loud, Charles.
Harley O'Toole, and I'm a senior. And my idea was like weatherproof drum fence or like marching band.
Okay.
Some people get mess up the heads, so I would make it nice.
Dr. Snow, could you repeat his idea real loud because the people out in the audience might not have heard? I was trying to hear.
Okay. His idea is weatherproof drum heads for marching bands. Next.
My name is Bethany Fairchild. I'm a junior, and I have came up with a blood sugar patch. That way, instead of having to poke your fingers so many times, and he has copies being passed around, instead of having to poke your fingers so many times throughout the day, and sometimes you forget your meter, or your meter fails, the battery goes dead, or you forget your test strips, the patch you can put on your arm, and it has a screen on it, and it will tell you, you can press a button, and it will tell you what the blood sugar is. It'll record it on the other side, and it clips onto the patch, so you can change the patch every day for like make sure everything's clean and nothing gets bacteria on it. And the meter clips onto the patch, and then you put it on. And the test strips is on the back of the meter, and it will test it 8 to 10 times a day.
Okay.
I'm Rich Bradley, and my product is a cake saucer, because the cake saucer can have only like a piece of time. Mine actually cut an entire sheet of cake in once.
Okay.
I'm Ruby Kester. I am a junior. My product is a therapeutic pillow that's shaped like a t-shirt, and it'll have a heating element in it and a heartbeat, so that like if you're going through an anxiety attack or something, that you have the warmth of like an active person actually there.
Okay. Yes. Innovative.
My name is Esther
all the time with junior. And my idea is like, I've never been to a ballgame and there's like, everybody has an umbrella and there's always that one person in the middle that's drenched. So my umbrella would have like expendable plastic tape that you put over top of the other one to like get rid of, or like whenever you're walking if the wind's blowing and if you're getting wet, you can just like unclip it and let it down.
Okay.
Awesome.
We have several innovative ideas. We don't have to. We have several interesting ideas, and we'll spend the next several weeks working on those. Now, we're going to do the Lean Launchpad methodology, which utilizes a business model canvas. Now, have you become familiar with that method yet?
He's referred to the homework, guys. The Canvanizer, where you went on the links. Have y'all looked at that? The PowerPoint, the Canvanizer? Some of y'all might have. It's okay.
Okay, so we're going to look at some of the aspects of this program. And all this stuff is posted on the Holler, and it's posted on a separate website in case the Holler goes down. So you have access to all those materials. And I think I'll pull up. If I pull this up, are they going to see that?
If I say present desktop.
Because that might be better than them just watching the studios first. Right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's why they'll see what you're talking about.
Alright, Dot, we're going to try to pull a PowerPoint up. Could you and Andrea let us know if you see it?
Yes.
Can you see the PowerPoint?
Yes, I can see.
Okay, perfect.
Yes. Thank you, Andrea.
So since this is the first week, we're going to look at kind of an introductory slideshow and talk about some things to lead up to the program. All right.
You just scroll down.
So we've already looked at some of your ideas. We've already introduced some of your ideas, and what we want to get to is over the next several weeks, you're really going to be concentrating on these things. You've already talked about your product or service you want to develop, so it's important that it really addresses a problem. It will make it, and that's what most of you talked about. You told me the problem, and you told me your solution. But the solution needs to match the problem. We'll get into that later. But also, things you're going to concentrate on are what resources do you need to make this work, and how will you make money with this? Because if it's something you want to do in a period of time, you're going to have to think about your costs and what you can sell it for into the profit margin. We'll get into that in more detail. But reasons why this is a good program for you, you can have some fun doing this, learning about entrepreneurship. Some of you have had a lot of experience going through programs. It is a skill, not just business. I know you probably have business education classes where you learn about accounting and finance and those things, but entrepreneurship is a different type of skill set, which gives you another way to solve problems. And it's something you can do as a career and starting your own company, or progressive companies you've heard of like Google or Facebook are interested in people with this type of skill. You know how to spot a problem, develop a solution, and find a resource in order to make it work. So these are what we're going to concentrate on. But so what you're going to learn is startup companies, what you're all trying to develop here, and it's really the search for a repeatable and scalable business model, which means you need to find a way that the actions you take to start this company, you can repeat over and over in order to grow the company. And what we're going to look at is this business model canvas is the tool you will use. So the 9 boxes on this, really, we're going to start the first couple of weeks looking at probably the 2 most important boxes are value proposition and the customer segments. So value proposition is, why is your product worth buying? Why will somebody give you money for it? What's in it for them? So it's not just about your idea, the product itself, but what's in it for the customer. So you really need to know what value you are creating with your product or service, and also you need to know who your customer is, because you can't know if you're solving the problem for them unless you know who they are. So you really need to learn who is this customer, what are their attributes, how old are they, where do they live, what kind of job do they have, how much money do they make, what radio stations do they listen to, if they listen to radio at all, in order to know how to solve their problem, how to reach them, to market them, how to get the product to them, to sell it to them. Will you sell it to them on Amazon or Walmart? Do you use your website or door to door? How are you going to reach them? So you have to know the customer very well. So what we'll do is look at this process here, customer development process, which means you'll start with customer discovery, and that you will go out and you will talk to your potential customers. You will talk to people who lift weights with on a weight bench press, to see, do they ever have this problem about worrying about getting stuck under the weight? Is it a real problem for them? They can't push their full potential because they're holding back. They want to make sure that they can get back on the bar by themselves. How many people lift without a spot? Is this a problem? And how many people go somewhere and get wet because they don't have a large enough umbrella? You need to go talk to these people. And once you learn, over the next several weeks, like after today, you should sit down, if you haven't done it already, and just take 10, 15, 20 minutes and write out a business model canvas. This is your first guess at the start of this program. Over the next several weeks, you should do several of these. Each week, you should learn something new and have to make changes to it. If what you do today in your first guesses is the same as, say, 8, 9 weeks from now, then you didn't learn much. When you actually go talk to customers and suppliers, how are you going to make this product? How will you make it on a mass scale? You need to get parts to build it with. So you have to talk to suppliers and find out how much they're going to charge you for these parts. How much it's going to cost you to build the finished product. Where are you going to sell it? You're selling it at, say, Dick's Sporting Goods. How much are they going to charge you to put it in their store? These are things you have to learn. So between now and the end of the program, you should have several of these canvases. You should do a new one every week with changes as you learn. Which means this. You'll start by stating your hypotheses, which is your first guesses on this canvas, and then you'll go test these assumptions by talking to people or observing people, and then you'll learn. You'll verify either you think this is a problem and you're right, or you'll learn and you'll have to readjust that. Create new experiments to go and test. So ways of doing this, there are 2 types of research. You're going to have to, primary research is go talk to your customers, go talk to suppliers, observe people. Do you ever sit and watch people get wet at a game? And that's a problem for them. If you watch people who cut cakes, I wish they could have a device that could cut it all at once to save some time. So this you can do firsthand. You need to do it firsthand. But also, secondary research, you can go on the internet, you can look at how many people out there make cakes on a mess. You could do something like that. You can learn this just from the internet. How many people lift weights by themselves? These are things you can discover. Research you can conduct. How many people are considering upgrading, making smart devices for the thermostats and being connected via Bluetooth. So some of the most important things that you can learn with this business model canvas is we talked about the value proposition box and the customer segment box is finding a product market fit, which means discovering the problem for the customer and does your solution fix that? Some people discover real problems and the solution they create isn't the right solution. Also, who are your customers and how do you reach them? Again, knowing exactly who your customer is, what are their demographics? So to do that, you have to look at, later on we'll look at those smaller boxes.
Mr. Bowling, experience classes, report to the field.
Which involve relationships and channels, which means the channels are how are you going to get the product to the customer? Is it in a retail store? Are they buying it from a website? How do they know about it? The relationship is how do you interact with that customer in order to maintain, in order to acquire them and to maintain them? What type of relationship is that? So these are things you need to learn. Also, later on we'll look at cost structure. If you're developing whatever device you're developing, how much does it cost to do that? And what can you sell it for? How are the ways you make money with it? Or is it a subscription? Like when we, I don't know, in our day we used to buy magazines. So you could get you can go to the store and buy one of them, or which is say you pay $5 for it, or you can get a subscription where it automatically comes to you once a month. Now they're like subscriptions because that means that you're locked in for a whole year, but they get that money automatically. So what type of cost structure, revenue model do you have? What are the different ways you can make money with your product? Can you make enough money to sustain your business? So those are things we'll look at. Some things to keep in mind for this program. We have a high school competition November 17th. So we'll give $1,000 away. At every school that's involved, each student has a chance to win this. So what will happen at your own school, you'll have your individual competition, and then the winner from this school will come on to UPI on November 17th to attempt to win the money there. Also, in December, we have our own college competition. Now, you don't have to be a college student. It's open to anyone. So you don't have to win the competition here either. So any of you here, if you go by the rules of our competition, which is you have to write a 5-page plan, you can enter that competition. And unlimited number of entries will accept until November 21st. And then we'll narrow that down to the best 8 plans who can come on the 3rd and give a 10-minute presentation. And we're giving $10,000. So we've actually had Johnson Central students participate in this and win money in the past. So that's open to you if you want to do it. Something else which is in the works, which I don't have a slide for it, is next April, the Lieutenant Governor is creating a competition. And we'll have an Eastern Kentucky regional, which will take place at UPI. And whoever wins that has a chance to go to the finals in Frankfurt later that month or in May. And what they plan to do is give away scholarships to the winners for college. We're working on that now, so you have a chance to get into that too. So there's many things other than working on your DIN and getting these skills, you have a chance to win money and scholarships for doing this type of project. Has everybody been able to go to the Canvanizer site and look at that? There's a link to that. You can sign up for free, and all it is a digital version of the business model canvas. What you can do with that is your team, you can log in and you can look at the canvas, you can make changes to the canvas and save it. That way you don't have to be in the same room. You can just log on and you can see your canvas and work on it together. So we've uploaded this slideshow. This is the first week. Again, we've updated the dates on the online version. This is came from my flash drive. But these dates have been changed to be consistent with this year. But your first week, you want to concentrate now on the business model itself, developing your first canvas, and on customer development, which means going out and talking to your customers. So to prepare that, there's a selection of these videos. Has anybody watched any videos yet? Okay. These videos, 0, 1, 1.5A, 1.5B, you want to watch those to become familiar with this method and how to do it. And really, you only have to watch these, but if you like this stuff, there's a bunch of other material we provided for you that you can also look at. And the reason you're watching those videos is to get familiar with these 9 parts of the canvas, the business model, to learn the difference in hypothesis and fact, which means when you first do one, you're guessing. And then as you go talk to people, you start to gather facts. As you do research online, you start to gather facts. And you'll change your canvas to adjust to the facts that you learn. But also about getting out of the building, which means instead of sitting here and writing your business model, you actually have to go out into the field and talk to your customers and talk to suppliers and learn more about the business you want to create. Also, we talked about problem solution, product market fit, and testing your hypotheses and your guesses. Now, another thing you'll learn about is iterations or pivots. That's common terminology for this method, which means an iteration, that's just a small change. If you learn as you go that, well, for this smartphone device, I thought we could charge $20 for it, and really people will pay $30 for it, well, that's a small change. But a pivot's a large change, which means, I thought I could sell this cutting device to people in the home who made their own cakes. But from talking to all these different people, I found that the people who really wanted are professional bakers. That's changing.
Coach Caven, 6th period classes, report to the football field.
That's changing your business model quite a bit because you may have to market different, cost structure may be different, how you deliver it may be different. So it could affect many areas of your business model and your customer changes from one to the other. So learning the difference between a small change, an iteration, or a big change, a pivot, is something you'll encounter as you work on this business model. And this first slideshow is just to give you an example of what you should develop. Because each week as we come back, when we visit each school, you should have developed a slideshow similar to this that we'll get into as a way of keeping track of your work. So for example, now developing a company name isn't the most important thing you should be doing, but at some point you'll think of a name for your company. And this is an example of the first slide in the slideshow. This is an example of a student group who created a new form of taxi service. And they thought it would be fun, that's why they called it Yay Go. So it's a taxi service, and what they've done is their tagline is enjoyable commutes. So eventually you might want to come up with a tagline once you really know what your business is about, but this isn't the most important thing. But you can see the team members are at the bottom there. And one thing you do keep track of is your interviews, how many people you talk to. You can see this is just an example. One week they talked to 10 people in total over the course of their program. At this point in time, they talked to 72. So just keeping track of your interactions with people is important. You can see here's their first run of a business model canvas. Their first guesses of their value proposition, who their customers are, how they reach them, what their key activities and resources are, their cost structure, revenue streams. That's just the first guess. You'll develop that, but you'll refine it as you go. So as you investigate, you want to know what type of market you're getting into, which means if it is an existing market, there's already products out there addressing the problem you want to address. So is it a new market? Are you creating a product or service that's never been done before, which means you're going to attract new customers that aren't buying something like that already? Resegmented means are you addressing a niche, kind of a more specialized area of the market? It's not really being looked at. And then cloning more or less means you may be addressing the market in another area And what we're seeing a lot of today is business models that are being adapted into other countries. Like there's a lot of businesses, especially social ventures, being created in places like Africa and India, which things that we've done here for a long time that didn't exist there, and people are creating new companies there. So that's something you want to discover, because if it is an existing market, there's competition that you will encounter, and you need to know about your competition, which we have a slide for that. Is more or less learning about the competition. So, bottom sentence there. If you have no competition, if you think you have no competition, it means you haven't done your research. So even if you're going into a new market, if you have a real problem, people are likely trying to solve it in some manner now. Now you may be coming up with a better product that really addresses the problem, solves the problem much better than what's out there, but you still have to think about consumer behavior. If someone's already cutting cakes in some manner, what are you going to have to do to convince them to stop doing it the way they're doing it and start using your product? Sometimes changing customers' behavior can be difficult, so that's something you have to think about. And all these slides are on the Holler and on our website for you to look at. So another important thing is you have to do your own experiments. So if you think people have problems as far as bench pressing by themselves, you can go, I'm sure you have a weight room here at school, you can go watch the football team work out and talk to them about their experience of if you have a problem benching by yourself. Do you always have a spotter? I mean, what if you work out at home your own ways? So you can talk to people about this. That's an experiment. All you can watch people, observing people, an experiment. So it's easy ways to do it. Also, keep track of who you talk to, as far as customers. That way you can record. You talk to 10 this week, 10 next week. You talk to 100 people. Because again, if you say you talk to 100 people, and if only 20 people tell you, yes, this is a real problem for me, then likely it's not a big enough problem. That's why you may have to make a pivot and find something else to work on. So if you start doing this and you figure out this is not going to work, I need to do something else, there's nothing wrong with that. That's good. Instead of working on something for 3 months and then finding out it's not going to work. So the more you learn, the better. If you have to make a major change, there's something wrong with that.
Great Apple C&W architecture. What do I need to ask you?
I don't know how well you can see this, but here's something for you to consider as you work on
features.
And I had on another slide, I had this label, features versus benefits. You need to understand when you're developing your product, yes, it's going to have features, it's going to have certain things it can do, but it's the benefits that the customers care about. You really need to think about what you're doing for the customer, not just your product itself, but when you think about a product, you think about it doing a job. It fills a job. The customer wants to get a job done. They don't buy a product. You know, a famous professor said, people don't buy a quarter-inch drill because they want a quarter-inch drill. They buy a quarter-inch drill, what he meant was drill bit, because they need a quarter-inch hole. So it's one job needs to be done. So here's an example. I had to buy tires a while back, and on the website I noticed they had this features versus benefits. So you read some of the features, variable thickness sipes and large circumferential grooves. Does anyone know what that is? A large degree of silica in the compound. Aggressive tread pattern. I mean, what does that mean? I don't care about any of that. But if you look at the benefits, it has enhanced dry grip, short wet dry braking, cold weather and snow control. Who here drives? Okay? And you want to slide off the road in the winter because there's snow on the road. Well, that's what I care about. Will these tires keep me on the road? Those are the benefits. So think about the benefits and what it's doing for the customer and not get too caught up in just the features. It's important in solving the job. So another way to look at it is most people buy a car to get from point A to point B. That's the job it's doing for you. Now here, that's kind of a necessity. But if you live somewhere, say like New York City, there's other ways that you can get from point A to point B other than buying a car, such as what?
Yeah, you can look for one good.
Subway, you can walk, you can bike. So all of those fulfill that job, which means if you're wanting to sell a car in New York, you have to think about those substitute products, services that can compete with you. And that's what you're going to have to do. If you're building a cake cutter, what other ways are people cutting cake? It's not going to be just like yours, but is it a good enough solution that they don't want to buy you? So you have to think about that. So what are the benefits you can provide? Maybe it's time savings. But think about that. Okay, and other slides on here for you just reiterate the types of research you need to do, resources available for you, examples of slides from other
Trent and
companies.
Trusty come to the office. Trent and Trusty to the office.
So I really hate to spend all the time lecturing. You know, when I teach my college classes, I lecture a little and then have the students do work. But in this setting, since we have guests watching and you're here to learn, I'm forced to talk more than I like to. Does anybody have any questions? Well, yes.
For my end, would be a good way to experiment.
Okay, well, your idea is for people with diabetes, people who test their own blood sugar. So I would go talk to people with diabetes and ask them about the problem of testing their own blood sugar. You want to start with the first interviews you want to do are just problem interviews. You really don't want to go out right now and talk to people about your solution. If I had this product that you could use when you're lifting weights to keep you, you're really not far enough along to do that. But first you want to see what percentage of people you talk to say they have this problem. You have a problem setting your thermostat and it's not what you want, you know, that you have to do it manually and on the wall and in your knees and you have to come back. You really just want to talk to them first about the problem to see if they really have it. Later, you can go back and talk to them. Well, first thing, the problem is, well, how do you solve that? You know, if you're lifting weights by yourself and you can't really push yourself the way you want to because you don't have a spotter, what do you do about it? Well, I just don't lift as hard. I do fewer reps. I do fewer sets. I use less weight. So find out if it's a problem. Find out how they solve it now. And then later, once you develop your business model more, then you can go back to those same people and say, well, what if you had this? Would you use it? And then you're really not ready to ask them about price yet, but you could say, what's the most you would pay for something? To get an idea. Again, the more people you talk to, again, if you've done any scientific research, sample size is an important consideration. The more people you talk to, the more likely you're going to get a representative sample of what the general public feels like. So if you just talk to 10 people, you may get 10 different answers. But if you talk to 100 people, you should see a pattern. So if you talk to 100 people and 80 people say, yes, I have this problem, then you're addressing a real problem. If later you go back and you talk to 100 more people and say 75 say they like your solution, well, then you're on to something. But if only 5 say, well, yeah, this is a good idea, then maybe you better think of changing it somewhere. Do I have any questions from the people watching? I've moved through this stuff faster.
Dot, any questions from you or your students, Mrs. Parsons?
Yeah, you won't have any. At present, he doesn't have anyone. We will contact Dr. Snow soon.
Yeah, Doc, I'm going to try to turn the volume up on our board. We weren't able to hear you. You do?
Yeah, it's a flat.
Well, he may be able to turn it in there.
Yeah, oh, there you go, there you go. Pull it. Oh, yes.
Okay, try it again, Doc.
At present, he doesn't have. He is going to talk to Dr. Snow regarding our project.
Okay, perfect. He can reach out to him by email
Yes.
or the holler or...
By email.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, and that's a good point to bring up. We can't come to every school every week, but we do have the information posted on the holler and our website. And if you need to reach us, you can reach us through the holler, you can email us, and we can make individualized trips back. Just because this may be the only time we're coming to Johnson Central during these next 10 weeks. But if you need us to come back, we can make special arrangements to come back and help you more often. And with any school, we can make arrangements to visit Belfry or visit Godolphin County other than the weeks that we're scheduled. We want to make sure the students have a good chance to work on their projects, and we're here to help any way we can.
Thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome.
Mrs. Parsons? Any questions? Oh, she's typing.
No, not yet. Once the students watch, we may have some questions, but we'll post them or email or message something somehow.
Okay, perfect. Well, I appreciate you guys joining. Justin Prater has posted a lot on the holler, a lot of resources and materials, and so I encourage all of you all, not just the ones joining today, but everyone that's participating, to interact with those materials and then reach out for additional assistance if that's needed. I look forward to the portion in our series when the students start presenting their project. As they do more research and develop their plan, then students will get to present, and Dr. Snow and Justin will give them feedback on their projects, and that's always very interesting to listen to all of the projects. So, Johnson Central students, do you all have any questions? No?
No questions? Okay, one thing I'd like to say to everybody is that the next time we meet like this, whichever school we're going to, everybody should have prepared a business model canvas. And the next students we visit, we'll pick some teams, at least one or two, to present their canvas and talk about their ideas so we can see how everyone's progressing. Now, next week, we're not meeting with anyone, so we're not actually meeting anyone for a couple of weeks because we have to go to a conference. But I'd like to just briefly cover the second one, because this is what you'll work on next week. Between now and next week, you should work on what we just covered, building your first canvas and making your first assumptions and looking at, again, the two most important boxes are value proposition and the customer segment. And when you talk about your canvas, those are the two you want to talk about instead of left to right. You really want to focus on those two areas, because without those two areas, the rest of this will not work. So in the after next week, and for the next 2 weeks, you're going to do what we just talked about, and then the week after, starting next week, you're going to work on the value proposition. Again, it's why someone wants to buy your product. So it's this middle box, and remember, it's not just about your product, it's what it's doing for them. What problem or need is it solving? And that's what's most important. So that's why we talked about product market fit. You have to know who your customer is to know what type of problem they really have in order to know what you can do to solve it and why they're paying for that. So, all this stuff's available for you to look at. That's why I'm not going to spend too much time on it. We do have a few minutes left. But again, if you just, I know this looks like a lot for a slide, but again, you start down here in the corner, you're not building this in isolation, which means you really need to go talk to them, find out if they really have this problem. So, is it a pain? And you'll encounter this terminology, minimal viable product, which is what I encourage you to work on while you're doing this program, which all it means is prototype. And we've had Johnson Central students build prototypes, which means just as simple, it doesn't have to be the real thing. It can be as simple as, like we had one the material they're going to use probably some type of rubberized material for their product, but they actually built the prototype out of cloth, out of knit, a yarn. And again, it was just a visual representation of what your product might be. If you're building a digital product, it could be just a PowerPoint slide with a design. Here's what our website's going to look like. Here's what our app's going to look like. Even if you're building a physical product, it could be just a sketch of it. You know, normally when physical products are built, there's usually a diagram made, a blueprint made before the actual products are made. The clay models are made. Today, clay models were the standard, but now today they do 3D CAD/CAM drawings. You know, same concept. So that could be done before you do a physical product. If it's going to be made out of metal, you could make it out of plastic or styrofoam or something else. Here's what it's going to look like. You can do those types of things without spending a lot of time or money buying the materials. Again, it gives your potential customers something to see and get a real idea. I mean, it's in your head. You know what you want it to look like, but you want them to know what it's going to be. So think about an MVP, because that's something you can put in their hands and show it to them, and they can give you feedback on how to make it better before you actually spend time and money to make the real thing. And lastly, getting out of the building to talk to the people.
Dr. Snow, do you know when we will be meeting next?
Yes, the next meeting is at Pikeville High School when we record, and it is on 9/29 is week 3. Week 3 is what we've got next week. Are you saying that's the one that you're not going to be able to do? Okay, so then Hazard on October 6th then will be our next recorded session.
There's still materials. Yeah, there's still material for you guys to do online. So if you get on the holler or the website, you'll see week 3, week 4 assignments on there. So just because we don't meet, you can still get on there and do what you can. And if you have questions, you can interact with us on. There's a forum on there. On the website, there's a contact us at the bottom of each assignment. As well as there's a traditional email. So if you guys have any questions on the assignments, we can answer those pretty quickly next week. We'll just be traveling.
Yes, all the lesson plans are posted. They're in order. You learn all the material simply from watching the videos and looking at the PowerPoint slides and how to construct the work for the students, what they need to do. We're almost out of time, but something important to remember about your value proposition and what you're trying to create for your customers, and what does it do for them. It's usually one of these 3 things. They're trying to solve a problem. Does your product help them do it faster, better, or cheaper? You can even have a combination of these. It's normally very difficult to have all 3 happen. Normally, if something's better and faster, it's not cheaper. Or you can have a combination of those. But it's difficult to do all 3. But how is it helping the customer if they're trying to solve that problem now in some way? So that's just a way for you to think about your value proposition. And other things, is it a painkiller? Which if they have anxiety, they have trouble sleeping. Well, that's a pain, because if you don't get much sleep, you don't get much done the next day. You don't feel good. So, and causes negative emotions. That's actually one of the ways. But like with your cake slicer, is it saving them time? What is it doing for them? It's a problem. Or is it getting creative? What is it doing that helps their life be better? So your weight bench product, well, they're able to lift heavier weight. They're able to get a better workout. They're going to get stronger muscles. It's doing something as a positive for them. So think about the value proposition and what it's doing for the customer. And again, these are all tools. These are examples of the minimal viable product. If you're building something physical, if you're building something virtual, these are all examples on here for you to go by. To quickly give you an example of a student team who had to make a major pivot, a major change in their idea. This is a real team. What they originally thought they would do is more or less make a robotic lawnmower, weed it, to cut golf courses. They thought that was a great idea. But once they went out into the field, they constructed their first canvas, what they thought would be great, and then they went out to the field and they talked to people. They did 20 interviews, visited 6 different sites, and gathered information. They even considered doing weeding for farms. And what they found out was that idea wouldn't work. Golf courses wouldn't pay for it. They weren't interested in it. So instead of giving up, they found another problem, which was weeding in the carrot fields. Very time-consuming, very expensive, very labor-intensive. So they found that what they could do is they could do robotic weeding in carrot fields. It's the same device. They may have had to adapt it a little for the different terrain, but this is their prototype. This isn't the finished product, but they've got something that works. So you can see in red, which is what you'll have to do each week. You'll make your first assumptions in black, and then each week you'll come back and make the changes in red to show here's what we've learned. Just stay there. Here's the value proposition. Reducing labor. Labor for a company is one of your biggest expenses is paying people.
Hello?
So if you can automate that, it saves a lot of time and money. So that's just examples of updating their canvas with their robotic weeder and other problems for them. Other resources.
It gets cut off with our.
Okay.